there are two different levels of communication. On the more external level of communication, I've come to call that the topical level of communication. On that level, we're talking about various themes, various topics. So, for example, with a married couple, they might talk about where are we going to live? What jobs are we going to have? What cars are we going to drive? Where are we going to take a vacation? How are we going to spend our money? Who's going to do various tasks in the house? Who's going to cook food? Who's going to pay bills? Who's going to take out trash? Down to how are we going to conduct our sexual relationship? How are we going to discipline our children? Down to real simple things like when you first get married, things like, do you roll the toilet paper over the top or do you roll it under the bottom? Because if you grew up one way and the person that you married does it the other way, every time you go in that bathroom, it's the wrong way. And you change it and they change it back. And do you know that people honestly get in arguments over this kind of stuff? Now, when you get in an argument about that, does anybody sense the argument is not really about the toilet paper? There's something a little more to it than that. And what there is that's more to it is what I call relational communication. Relational communication is a lower level, a deeper level of communication. Now, people that study communication, they'll tell you there are 7 different levels of communication or 5 different levels of communication. So tonight we're just going to keep it real simple and talk about 2 levels, the topical and underneath that, relational. So what is relational communication? I define it this way. Relational communication is messages we send to one another in the realm of identity regarding value. And the 2 key operative words are identity, value. Identity is just answering this question, who am I? Who am I? So suppose that, I'm going through the day, I'm bouncing that question off of people all the time. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Suppose I get back the message, you're nothing. You're nobody. You're worthless. You're stupid. You don't count. What's that going to do in that relationship? Is that going to make me want to be around that person sending me that message? The obvious point is no way. No, I don't want to be around somebody sending me that message. You're worthless. You don't count. You're stupid. You don't mean anything. And so what I've discovered is, as we talked about in the introduction, there's 2 ultimate messages that we can communicate to somebody. We can communicate a message, you're very, very valuable, your opinions count, your feelings count, you're worth spending time with, or we can communicate a message, you're worthless, you don't mean anything, you don't count, your feelings don't count, your opinions don't count, you don't mean anything. One of those messages comes from God, one of those messages comes from the devil. Bottom line, one of those messages empowers relationships, one of those messages destroys relationships. Now, the strategy or the scheme that we're talking about is, what if I'm used to send that message to somebody and don't know that I sent it? That's what happens all the time, and here's the strategy. The way that happens is if I am focused only on the topical level and I am totally unaware of the relational level, then I can say something, in other words, I can communicate something that I think is one thing on a topical level, and underneath I'm actually communicating something entirely different on a relational level and don't even know it. Not even aware of it. Don't realize it. And yet that's hitting somebody's heart, and I'm going to get a response from that person in accordance with the relational message, not the topical. How many times have you gotten a response back, say from a marriage partner, from a child, from a friend, from another person that seemed to be totally inappropriate for what you thought you were talking about?